Welcome, welcome. We're getting ready to kick off the 34th volume of the Sports Influencer Roundtable. We're going to give our audience a chance to chime in. We're getting ready to welcome the newest boys basketball coach at Desoto High School. The great Richard Bacon will be joining us today on the broadcast, along with four-star 2021 prospect Duncan Powell, who's also a DeSoto student athlete. So I'm looking forward to a candid conversation with these guys. We're going to be talking about the new hire, some of the things that went into his decision to leave a very good situation over at Richland and come back south to DeSoto. So looking forward to hearing from Coach. Also looking forward to talking with Duncan Powell about his recent decision to decommit from the University of Arkansas and reopen his recruitment. So a lot of good stuff to talk about. If you know Coach Bacon, you know he's going to give us some great stories. So tune in. You never know what he's going to say, what he's going to do. While we're building up, please do me a favor and take a moment and share the broadcast. Take a moment, share the broadcast, and we're getting ready to bring on our VIP guests. Hopefully everybody's staying safe and sound from this COVID-19. Hopefully everybody is recovering and staying safe from the COVID-19 and out of the way. I know we reopened our economy, so to speak, but the number of positive cases are on the rise. So we still got to be diligent in our safety in regards to social distancing and make sure we're staying safe. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and welcome our guest to the round table today, Coach Richard Bacon and Mr. Duncan Powell. Please join in. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Good.
Good to see you. Good to see you, Duncan.
What's up with it?
How's everything?
Good, good, good. Can't complain.
Let's see, and we got, there's Coach Bacon, my man. Coach Bacon, the newest head coach at DeSoto High School, is in the building at the round table. Coach, how you doing today?
Man, I'm doing awesome, man. It's been a long 24 hours, I can tell you that.
Absolutely.
24 hours was longer than 24 hours. At least it felt like it anyway.
So what made it feel so long for you, Coach?
Well, I got a phone call yesterday around 3, and my phone normally can go on a charge from sleeping overnight, and my phone has been dying all day yesterday, today, because I got a call saying, hey, man, congratulations. I'm like, congratulations for what? Because I didn't know that I had the official word in, and I had probably 10 to 15 people call me before it was ever official that my name was being taken to the board. So I was on pins and needles, couldn't sleep the night before. Like a friend of mine discussed it. It was almost like you couldn't go to sleep the day before a big game, So we're very excited about this opportunity. You'll probably hear me use that word opportunity more than any other word tonight, because this is what this is. This is an opportunity. There's nothing given other than the fact that I'm the coach. And then from what I keep hearing, it's a bunch of talented basketball players at DeSoto and a bunch coming.
Yes, indeed.
So right now, I'm just happy to have this opportunity to lead the way. I have a formula. I think I know what to do. No, I don't think. I know what to do. And all I need them to do is follow me. I'll take them where we want to go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're live with the newest DeSoto High School boys basketball coach, Coach Richard Bacon, formerly of Lincoln High School. Started his career at Seagoville before he went to Lincoln, then went on to TCU, and then came back and went to Richland High School and been there. Is it 20 years, Coach?
Actually, 23, man. It went by
23
fast.
years. 23 years as the head coach at Richland High School. Had a lot of success. Coached a lot of really good players in his day. Coach, talk a little bit about some of the things that went into your decision. I mean, the elephant in the room for me is, you've been 23 years in at Richland, a really good situation. What went into your decision to get that up and come to DeSoto?
Well, it was a couple of things. First of all, family. It was an opportunity to the job paid a little bit more money than the job that I had previously at Richland, so it was family. The second thing that probably stood out the most was to be able to coach talented players that have a goal and strive to become, great players on the next level. Had a lot of success at Richland, but I kind of think we lacked a little bit of that motivation, that self-motivation to go on and play at the next level and inspire to be the very, very best you could be all the time. There's so much love back on this side of town. Not to say that it wasn't any over at Richland, but, man, the phone calls, the texts I've gotten in the last 24 hours, people telling me, glad to have you back, good to you on this side of town again. I had one even come through to say, DeSoto ought to be happy that they got you. And I was like, I don't know how about all that, but we'll see. But I'm excited, man. I'm ready to go to practice now. I wish there wasn't no COVID-19 going on. I'm ready to go right now.
I know you are.
I'll meet all of them up to the gym right now.
I know you are. And I can attest to that, too. I'm one of those ones who say DeSoto is extremely lucky to have you. I've had a chance to watch your career from the time I was probably 9 or 10 years old over at the Visions camp at Beckley Saint Rec Center. And,
yes, sir.
You pulled a little chubby, big-headed bad boy to the side and said, hey, man, I'm gonna pretty much take you under my wing. And
right.
Ever since then, it's been a pretty good relationship and even had a chance to fast forward and play for you as a professional. Most people don't know Coach Bacon was one of the few high school coaches in history that did double duty, dual roles as a high school coach and a pro coach. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I might go as far as say I'm probably the only coach to coach high school and professional basketball at the same time.
Now tell us a little bit about that experience. You got a lot of your former players and guys who were local high school standouts that watched your career that ultimately had a chance to play for you as professionals when they got out of college. So talk a little bit about that experience.
Well, just like with anything else, when you take on something new and something a little bit above what you've done before, you kind of question whether or not you're supposed to be there and how the player is going to take to you. You're a high school coach. These guys have already finished up their college careers. So my biggest concern was, how are these guys going to take to me? And I remember I had a conversation when I became a college coach with a guy at a restaurant in between games. And I said, I'm a little concerned with how these college boys going to take me coming from high school. And he said, well, you know what, coach? It's still basketball. It's just better players. So that's my approach when I got with you guys. It was still basketball. I just had better players. And so it was an easy transition for me to go. Plus, I came in with some credibility because a lot of you guys already know me. A quick little story, you may remember this. We played at Detroit and against Jimmy King, Fab Five, Jimmy King. And at the end of that game, that team folded. And those guys were scrambling, trying to find places to play. And I got on the phone and made a call to Jimmy and asked him, would he be willing to relocate to Dallas and play for a coach that he's known for quite a while. And he said, man, yeah. Jimmy was on the next plane, and we had Jimmy King on our team. So the transition from coaching high school to pros and college and all of that, once I understood that it's still basketball, just played with better players and on a different level, the coaching part of it was not hard at all.
I'll say this, and as you made it a point of being able to coach higher level players on a more consistent basis now at being at Desoto. We're going to chime over to one of those players being Duncan Powell. Duncan, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good to see you, man. How's everything been? How you maintaining with the COVID-19 situation?
I mean, everything's been good. It's just I'm starting to miss school now a little bit. I never thought I'd say that. I'm starting to miss school. I miss it a little bit, waking up, going to school. But now I've been working every day. You know, it's harder to find a gym. I'm not in the gym for basketball, but I've been lifting, staying in shape in every other way. So my shot might be a little rusty, but my body's in tip-top shape.
That's good. That's good. So you're finding ways to stay conditioned in spite of. I know a gym rat like you, it's killing you, just like it's killing Coach Bacon not to get in the gym. It's killing you. That's one of the things I'm gonna say. Y'all gonna get along well. y'all two are definitely gonna get along very well. So Duncan, what have you been doing outside of not being able to go to the gym? Have you learned any new trades? Have you picked up some hobbies? What have you been doing?
Yeah, I've been learning Spanish.
Really?
Yeah.
Give me a taste.
Nah, you ain't finna hear none of that. There might be somebody on this line that's speaking for real. They gonna call me. Nah, you ain't hearing it right now. Not yet.
Okay. What about you, Coach? What you been doing with your time now that you've been down with this quarantine situation?
Man, I become a carpenter. I can build stuff. I can build benches. I done built my daughter some volleyball equipment to work out with. I've done everything around this house. I've done more work at this house since COVID than I probably would do in a whole 6 months. But I also just been busy kind of making sure my daughter was out doing what she needed to do. And, man, I don't know how parents do it, but I'm teaching my daughter how to drive. And I'm telling you, that's a scary thing, man.
Ooh. Is it scary because she distracted, or is the first sign of independence for the baby girl?
A little bit of both. A little bit of independence for the baby girl, going out there doing her thing, because, she's ready now to start driving up and down the streets. And, we usually take her up to our high school parking lot.
Okay.
Let her practice parking and driving. But, you don't have no – it's like when you're in the gym by yourself. You ain't got no competition. You can miss a shot. It's okay. You go get your rebound, put it back up. But, boy, when a bunch of dudes walk in the gym, it's a whole totally different thing. And so with that, I'm saying I'm concerned with what's going to happen when she get on the road and there's a whole bunch of more cars out there.
Mm-hmm.
How she going to react to that? And so we actually were supposed to go driving this morning, but with that rain that came through, I didn't want to be out there driving the first time on the streets with it being wet. So we postponed that to another day.
It's kind of funny to hear you talking about taking Adriana driving and doing all this. I can remember when she was, we just talked about the ABA team. I literally remember the day she was born.
Right.
You had to leave the game to go to the hospital to be with her, and I can remember you calling back and checking the scores. And
right.
See, fast forward all these years later, she's driving and doing well. And isn't she a very good volleyball player too, huh?
Yeah, we think she is anyway. Look, I'm pretty critical regardless if you're my child or not. But I think she's got a chance to maybe be a scholarship volleyball player. She's got to increase that vertical a little bit more and can grow at least 2 more inches. And she's got a chance to play college basketball as an outside hitter.
Wow.
And we're going to afford her every opportunity to be successful. It won't be because she didn't get a chance to work out or she didn't have any equipment. She's going to have all of that.
Absolutely.
We're going to make sure she has a chance to be successful. So now it's on her, and we keep telling her, it's on you now.
Absolutely. And I'd be remiss if I didn't shout out to the missus, Miss Greta Bacon. Shout out to Greta for being a fantastic first lady. Anytime you're at one of Coach's game, you can always look over his shoulder and see Greta taking the books or wearing a number of different other hats for the program. So I always say, beside every great, successful head coach is a even better first lady. So shout out to Greta for always being there and being a part of whatever coach is doing.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So Duncan, I'm gonna turn back to you, and we want to get into some recruitment questions. You had a big-time junior season, one of the top players in the area, recruited by a number of different Division I schools. You chose Arkansas. Then you decommitted from Arkansas recently. Talk a little bit about what went into your decision to reopen your recruitment.
I mean, I just want to make sure I found the right fit in the school I chose. Arkansas is a great school. Coach Muslim is a great coach. But I made the decision before the year even started with my junior year. So it was real early. I didn't really think about it as deeply as I should have. I just felt like opening up my recruitment was best for me. Arkansas is still on the table. It's still a great school. I'm still very interested. But I just wanted to make sure I make the right decision going into my college campaign.
Much respect for that. Yeah, definitely. You want to do your due diligence, take your time, nothing to rush into. So, with that being said, what are some of those things that you are looking for in the college?
I'm looking to be my freshman year. As soon as I stepped foot on campus, had an opportunity favored to me to be able to be the man and contribute as a freshman. Because at the end of the day, I'm trying to go to the level after that, and I know I need to produce. I just want to be. That's my main thing, is being the right fit and being able to go in my freshman year and produce and get numbers and do all that, which I know I'm capable of doing.
Now, walking into a new situation, college is a new situation for you, as well as actually going into your senior season, playing under a new head coach is somewhat of a new situation for you. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about what a coach gets in a player like you.
They're going to have a whole lot of energy. They're going to have a whole lot of dog in the games. You're going to see a whole lot of loose balls, a whole lot of new possessions off of all types of things. I'm a shot blocker. You just going to get a whole player from me that plays hard. That's the main thing. I feel like a lot of top-ranked guys like myself, they don't play hard. And then, I go to Desoto. So, Desoto always brings that little edge to the game, but that's what they're going to get, is really a dog from me outside of the tangibles of the game, jump shots and rebounds. They're going to get a dog.
So what can they expect from you off the court as well? Character is big in student athletes, and doing the right thing. It's way bigger than just putting the ball in the basketball in the hole. So talk a little bit about what some of the things they can expect off the court from a kid like you.
The extreme leadership. I mean, I take all my teammates as family members, brothers. I don't have any brothers. So, I take all my family members as real brothers. So, off the court, football games, going to Whataburger on the street, whatever, I'm going to take full responsibility for all my teammates and what we do. And I'm going to be the first person to lead them to or away from whatever it is. I feel like that's the main thing. I take 100% responsibility for me and my teammates. It's like I'm like the big brother out there, and they all gonna go up under me. So I feel like that's the main thing. I take big pride in my brothers. Like I want the best for them. So that's the main thing. You ain't gonna have to worry about your other players, because I got them.
Okay,
that's great.
So what are some of the things you need to work on? What are some of the things you want to get better at to
on the court,
level, on and off the court, take your game to another level?
On the court, I would say a tighter ball handling. I feel like my body, I have a very strong body, so that's there. With my ball handling, that can always get better with anybody. So just ball control in tight spaces, and probably developing a deep three. Because I can shoot the ball. I pride myself on being able to shoot off the pull-up. It's really I got the low post. It's the deep three, really expanding my range, like to the logo or whatever, where once I cross half court, you got to guard me. That's probably my main thing.
Okay. I watched one of your games over at the Mavs Classic. One of the games this year. I think it might have been the third place game. I could be wrong. It's all a blur. I see so many games. But you had a 39-point, 20 rebound performance. You remember that game?
Yeah.
What was going through your mind? What goes through your mind in games like that versus games where you're not as locked in? What was going through your mind that day? Because I always want to ask you that. That was an incredible game. That was one of the best games I've ever seen you play. You were locked in on both ends. And I always say when you're locked in like that, it's not too many people that can do anything with you. So what was going through your mind that day?
Just give me the ball, really. I mean, whenever I'm locked in like that, I know what I can do. So, I mean, really, I was kind of upset, really, because we had got blown out the first game, and it's like as soon as we lost, that was like the third game of the season. As soon as we lost, everybody stopped coming to all the games, and we didn't have no crowd anymore. Desoto this, Desoto that, they're not good. Duncan's overrated. He can't even beat a private school. Yada 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 yada. So it's like, all right. And then there was a certain media person there that records basketball games, like a high profile dude. He was always just hates on me. So I had to show out. So him and really what everybody else was saying, I just took it personal, and it made it a vendetta that I had to go out.
There you go. We call that a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, for sure. That's what it is.
You never lose. You want to take that chip and did you see the Michael Jordan documentary?
Nah, I'm waiting till it's all over so I can watch it at once. I don't want that suspense week to week.
Okay, well, Michael Jordan had one of those things where he would do whatever he had to do to put a chip on his shoulder, whether it was real or not.
Yeah, that's what I do. I do that a whole lot. I imagine fake scenarios and make myself believe it to get mad before a game. So, yeah, I feel him on that.
Absolutely. I'm going to see, Coach, you got anything for Duncan?
Yeah, I have a question for him.
Okay.
What do you need your new coach to do for you in particular to help you get to where you want to go?
Wow.
I mean, just put my name out there. That's all I need is you to just get a coach in the gym, whoever in the gym. I'll take care of everything else. I don't ask for nothing. Nothing. I just want people in the gym just so they can see. Once they see, I'll take care of all the rest. That's it.
I'm gonna say this, Coach. I'm gonna give it right back to you. But Duncan, I'm gonna say this: playing for him, they gonna be in the gym.
Yeah,
they gonna be in the gym. Now, what they see when they get in the gym is on y'all, but they are coming to the gym as soon as whenever they open the doors up to DeSoto High School.
So,
speaking on that, Jabari, I've already gotten calls and congratulatory comments from a lot of coaches who know that I've now gotten a job. So getting them to the gym ain't gonna be no problem. Most coaches value my opinion of talent, and if I say I got a dude, they coming. So yeah, you got anything tough for me? Like how we gonna beat Duncanville or something?
I'm not worried about none of that at all. They ain't even something just show up. That's all we gotta do. Okay. I'm big with talking because I'm gonna back it up. That we can discuss all that. I mean, how we gonna win state? How we gonna be top 5 in the country? That's the things I think about.
Okay, well I got you. I got you on all of the above.
And I got a comment from one of Coach Bacon's all-time greats. You know, Duncan, I feel like I'm one of Coach Bacon's greats, but this guy here is probably higher on the list than me. But Carlton Dixon wanted me to tell you, Duncan, that listen, you got the best one coming for you, young fella. You do your part, then Coach Bacon gonna take you exactly where you want to go. So that's from Carlton Dixon, the great Dallas Lincoln legend, UT, all of that. One of Coach Bacon's top players. So for whatever that's worth to you, son.
For sure.
Jabari, I think we jumped off of that ABA thing. It was one comment I wanted to make about you guys and that transition for me coming from high school. Because, you know, we used to get done with the high school practice at 5, and you guys would come in at 6. Practice started at 6.
Yeah.
You and some of the guys would get there like 5. Matter of fact, sometimes before we even finished the high school practice.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what the joy was. The joy wasn't the fact that you showed up an hour early. The joy was you showed up an hour early because you wanted me to get out there and spend some individual time helping you put up some shots and coming off some screens and, Coach, how should I do this? Man, it is a joy when you got guys who want to be coached no matter what the level is. And so I remember Jimmy King, when he got there, the first thing he told me, he said, Coach Bacon, coach me up. If I'm not working hard enough, get on me. Now, this is coming from an All-American. So I think a lot of times high school greats or high school guys who have been guarded as being really, really good, they miss that point on working hard. And that's good to hear DP say that he's going to work hard and he's going to hold his teammates accountable, because working hard is half the battle right there. If we work hard, good things going to happen.
Absolutely.
Show that.
It's good stuff. No, I'm excited. There are a lot of the Desoto community is excited. Like I shared earlier, I think I put a congratulatory post out earlier, and it's gone viral with hundreds, even thousands of congratulation messages from coaches and former players, community, the media. Everybody is on board and excited about this hire. So, what? Before I'm gonna go forward, before we go all the way back to the start of your coaching journey, Coach. But what are some of the things that the DeSoto community can expect from their next head coach?
The first thing I'm gonna do, and I don't know if I can make my arm stretch that far, but I'm finna embrace that community from the person who sells chicken wings on the street to the grocery stores. They gonna know who Coach Bacon is, because he's gonna embrace and hug that community and give them love like they've never been loved before. That's the first thing. They can expect from the coach a guy that's going to put a product on the floor every Tuesday, Friday night, or Thursday, Saturdays when we're in tournaments. It's going to be entertaining to watch, fun basketball, up and down, in-your-face defense, just exciting basketball. That's what you can expect from a Richard Bacon coach team. And my ultimate goals, and I told DP this because we've talked a couple times, I want to be the all-time winningest state championship coach in this area. I don't need but a few more to go ahead of everybody.
Oh man, where are you now? Now the coaching record is 634 and 334. I could be off.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right.
Okay.
I'm not talking about win losses. I'm talking about state championships.
Absolutely. Okay.
I want to go. If I can get 3 or 4, that should put me past everybody in the area. So that's what we're trying to do. And Lincoln told me he got 1 year left, so he can't promise more than one. I mean, Duncan, I'm sorry. Duncan told me that we were talking about Lincoln, but yeah, Duncan Powell told me, he said, hey, man, I can't promise you more than one, but we can try to go get that one. So we'll see. It's a lot of work to win a state championship, man. It ain't easy.
That's what I was getting ready to get to. Now, with that being said, with state championship talks, I always say behind every state championship team and head coach is a hell of a staff who put in a whole lot of work.
A lot of work.
My question to you is, have you made a decision on your staff and coaching philosophy and who you're going to put around you?
Well, the coaching philosophy and stuff like that is already in place. And matter of fact, whenever I sit down with who becomes my assistants, I can just hand it to them. They'll see what their duties and responsibilities are and what my expectations are. Now, in terms of what was the other part of that question about the coaches?
Just as far as have you made any staffing decisions yet?
No staffing decisions yet, because I don't even know the total numbers of assistants I'm gonna be able to hire. Okay. I should find that out in the next day or so. As soon as I find that out, I'll start. I mean, I got a list of guys, and I'm getting a lot of phone calls. And the thing about it, though, anybody listening to this that knows somebody that wants to be a good assistant, first of all, it's not about friendship. It's about work. Yeah, we got to get you in there because you got to work. These guys need coaches that's going to take them to another level. They don't want to stay where they are. Duncan had a great year last year. But he don't want to have that type of year. He want to have a year better than that. Absolutely. So we need guys that's going to come in and push these guys to levels that they – you know, Jabbar, think about it. Most people who train, they have a trainer, right? Mm-hmm. Because you need somebody to take you a little bit further than you think you can go. Yeah. And that's what we plan to do. And I've been able to do that with a lot of good players, able to push them a little bit further than the guys at Lincoln used to have. Well, there was some funny guys. So here's a Lincoln story for you. So I go in the locker room, and they just kind of playing around and stuff. And I'm like, say, man, what are y'all doing? Y'all know this is a tough game. We got to win this game. And so when they saw me get upset about it, I walked out to give them a time to talk and stuff. I go back outside. They out there clapping and hollering and stuff. And Carlton Dixon, the guy you just got through talking about, he walked up to me and said, Coach, you don't have to be worried, man. He said, we only came to the game to find out what the score going to be because we going to win. And once I can get Desoto basketball thinking like we going to win here just to find out what the score going to be. That's some pretty good stuff, man.
That sounds like Carlton Dennis.
He told me, Coach, you ain't got nothing to worry about. We going to win.
So speaking of those Dallas Lincoln days, for those that don't know, take us all the way back to how you got started. When did your coaching journey start, and walk us all the way through to today as the head coach at DeSoto High School?
Okay, so my first coaching job was a freshman coaching job at my alma mater, which is Pinkston. And it was just weird how I got that job. I had applied for jobs all throughout the district and hadn't heard anything. And I went up to the high school to talk to my old high school coach. He said, man, what you need to do, he said, you probably can work every day, but you need to go sign up to be a sub. That's a whole different application. Go sign up to be a sub, go around the neighborhood, meet all the principals from elementary school to middle school to high school principals, and talk to them about what your aspirations are and that you'll be available for substitute teaching. So I did that, and so I started with my high school. And just so happened, my middle school principal, when I was in middle school, was now the high school principal at Pinkston. And I walked in, and he said, Richard Bacon, man, what can I do for you? His name was Joseph Honore. So, and he said, I said, well, and back then, you know, guys had briefcases. So I had a briefcase. I opened my briefcase up, and I said, first thing I want to show you is this right here. And he looked at it. He said, what is this? I said, I graduated as the most outstanding male graduate of my college class. And that's a combination of a lot of things, how you carried yourself on campus, to your athletic ability, to your grade point average, all of that. And I said, I want to be a basketball coach. He got on the phone. He called the principal at the 9th grade center. He said, don't we have a position open? He said, yeah. He said, well, what's the teaching field? And the guy said, well, I think it's social studies. He said, what are you certified in? I said, I'm certified in health and PE. Got back on the phone. He said, don't you have a guy that's teaching health and PE that can teach, is certified in social studies? He said, yeah. He said, well, move him to social studies. We're going to hire Richard Bacon, and he's going to be our 9th grade coach. And that's how I got started in coaching.
Wow.
Just like that.
So an opportunity.
Yes, sir. Somebody. And I think that guy, he's deceased now, but Joseph Honore was the dude who got my career started on a whim. I just happened to go up to the school and catch him and talk to him. So the second job I got happened almost identical. I was in West Dallas at the 9th grade center. Actually, I was passing by and I saw the principal's car, and I decided to stop by just to say, what's up, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. So I go in, and the phone rings, and he says, for you. I say, how could it be for me? Nobody knew I was coming by here. And it was the associate superintendent of athletics in DISD. He said, this guy wants to talk to you. I'm saying, okay. He said, Coach Bacon, do you still aspire to be a head coach? I said, yes, I do. He said, does it matter where? I said, nope. He said, well, how does Seagoville sound? I said, sound good to me. Just tell me how to get there. Because we didn't have no GPS and all that stuff. He said, hold on a second. Let me ask the principal. He said he can get over there today. What time do you need to be there? He said, can you be there about 2 o'clock? I said, yes, sir. So I get out to Seagoville, interview with the principal at 2 o'clock, hired me at 4 o'clock. Became the head basketball coach at Seagoville, just like that.
And what year was this?
This was 1981. 1981.
Now we got to back up too, because you were a pretty good college player in your day before you took that job at Pinkston. You were fresh out of college, right?
Yeah, I came out of college in 1979.
Okay.
So I was a coach 2 years at Pinkston High School as the 9th grade coach. So in 81, I go to Seagoville.
Gotcha.
Man, I get to Seagoville, and mind you, I'd only worked in a 9th grade center, so I had never seen seniors. I get to Seagoville, I'm looking at all these kids, and I'm like, okay. So I start trying to find out who played basketball. Nobody. And somebody said, you need to go talk to Mike Hernandez. I said, a Hispanic kid? Okay, a Hispanic kid gonna be my best player. Okay. So I find and run Mike down. I said, Mike, how many games y'all won last year? He said, Coach, I don't know. I said, how you play on the team? Didn't you play on varsity? You didn't know how many games y'all won? He said, I think maybe 4 or 5.
Wow.
I gotten myself into. So I go out there, man, and we win one game my first year at Seagoville. One game. We were 1-25. And we almost lost that one game. We tried to give it away. But we were 1-25. So I had some kids in the program that were freshmen that had never won a game for a school team in their life. And I'm going, oh my gosh, what am I going to do to turn this around? So let's fast forward to 4 years later. That same team that went 1-25 was playing in Austin for the state semifinals.
Wow.
We went from a 1-25 team to a 19-10 team, and we beat Corsicana. We beat Corsicana in the regional finals, and they were ranked number 1 in the state at the time.
Wow. 1-25.
Hey, they were 29-1, and we were 18-10. And I remember we played them at over in Waxahachie, and when I walked in, one of the news beat writers was there, and he said, Coach Bacon, I just want to come over and congratulate you for being in the Final 8. I said, you talking to me like we lost. He said, come on, man. This team is 29-1 and number 1 in the state. Do you actually believe you have a chance? I said, if they let us play the game. And so he said, so I walked over to one of my assistants. I said, man, I'm going to tell you how this conversation just went. So I said, I got to find a word that he would not expect me to say when he come over and ask me how I feel. And I had to think of a word that meant happy without saying happy. And I came up with the word elated. So after the game, he said, Coach, how you feel? I said, man, I'm so elated, I don't know what to do. And that's what the paper said the next day. Coach Bacon was elated for the win or something like that. And so that started that Seagoville thing. And then in 1988, Lincoln came open because Coach Gillum, a legendary coach in the area, and played Coach DeCarter. I don't think you played for Coach, but Coach Gillum got sick, and he had to step away from Coach. He thought he had cancer. And so Lincoln came open, and the Lincoln principal had called me before when he gave the job to Gillum to ask me to come to Lincoln. And I said, at that time, I was like, man, I think I got this Seagoville thing about to start rolling, and I don't think I want to leave. So when it popped open again, I gave him a call, and I asked him, I said, Dr. Lewis, you still interested in this little old coach over here? He said, man, yeah. He said, come on over to the school. Went over to Lincoln, interviewed with him, got hired the same day. First year there, we made the playoffs, lost to Kurt Thomas and the Hillcrest Panthers in the first round. Second year there, we win the state title. And at one point, that team that won the state title was 11-10. We finished the season 27-10.
Wow.
Yeah,
what happened there?
I'm gonna tell you what happened. So we go to Belton to play Belton in a non-district game before district starts. It was our last non-district game. And Belton was small. Biggest kid on the team was about 6'2". I got a 6'8", a 6'9", 6'6". And they go in there and start playing like, they playing some kind of crazy. They wasn't playing Coach Bacon basketball. And we lose to these dudes by 3. So I said, okay. So on the way back, we stopped to eat. I let everybody order their food. And then I said, man, let's get on the bus. Get on the bus. So they ain't let them get their food. And that was a long ride back to South Dallas because I wanted to make sure they knew I wasn't playing with them. And, man, them guys got focused. We averaged district wins with 33 points against our district opponents. We led the area in scoring, had a couple of all-state players on that team. And it had gotten to the point where the guys had started feeling real good about themselves and said, man, if we don't win state this year, we'll win it next year because we got everybody coming back. I said, you better win it this year because next year ain't guaranteed. We only had 3 seniors on that team. So we win the state title in 1990. And in 1991, that with everybody coming back, we get beat in the regional finals by South Oak Cliff.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And
Okay.
but
Who
that started
on that South Oak Cliff team? You
that was
remember?
Batty now.
Batty? Okay.
Yeah,
Wayne.
yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, them guys. Yeah, little Batty. I mean big Batty, Derek. And so we lose to Sock in the regional finals in 91. We lose to Sock in the regional finals in 92. Sock wins the state in 92, but they lost in 91 to Port Arthur Lincoln. So 93, we dropped down to 4A because 5A came in. Sock stayed 5A. And my principal, first day of school, he's like, where's Coach Bacon? Where's Coach Bacon? You know, we got a staff meeting. Where's Coach Bacon? I said, I'm right here. He said, man, I want you to know I didn't got South Oak Cliff reclassified to 5A, so maybe now you can get the state. And so I say, okay, this dude trying to say I didn't get the state because of Sock. Okay. So we win the district, we win the regionals, we go to state in 93, and we win it again. We beat Port Arthur Lincoln with Steven Jackson on that team. And then the following year, we make it back to state again, and we lose to, what's the name of that school? Oh, man. Can't think of them now. But the team that beat us won the state title. So when I got to Austin, which was Austin back in the day, we either won state or got beaten by the team that won state. So you had to be better than us to win state when we were making our runs.
Wow.
So after Lincoln in 94, I started having them aspirations to be a college coach. And they had a committee of people who were Alcorn alums and a group of people who were Morgan State alums who would come to me and say, hey, man, Morgan State and Alcorn is open. If we put your name in the hat, would you go interview? I said, I sure would. So I ended up interviewing for the head coaching job at Morgan State up in Baltimore, Maryland, and actually got the job, was recommended by the athletic director, but the president of the school didn't like the way the committee did things, fired the AD, and reopened the job.
Oh, sound familiar. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it does. And in between that, Billy Tubbs had gotten the TCU job, and he called, and we talked about it, and he told me so many things that you need to learn about college basketball that you don't know because you haven't been on this level, that you can learn from me. So I said, okay, I'll go be an assistant for a while. He said, you just have to be an assistant for a few years. I'll help you get there. So I said, okay. And I was his assistant for 3 years. First 2 years were great. Last year was horrible. Hated it. Had some changes in our staff. So some of the guys in the staff was a little backstabbish, I guess. Turned Tubbs against me. So he made life hard for me, which made it hard to go to work. And so I told him I'm out. Richland happened to be looking for a high school coach that had some skins on the wall. And I had those 2 state titles. And so I got an interview with them. Interviewed that morning. They called me that afternoon and offered me the job that same afternoon. And Richland matched my TCU salary.
Wow, they wanted you real bad.
Yeah, wow. It was negotiable back then. They matched my salary. Then I got at Richland. I said, you know what? I'm going to see if I can't turn this thing around over here. Been turning them around everywhere I went. And I was a little leery when the superintendent said, Coach, he said, you probably got the least amount of talent of anywhere you ever been. I said, even Seagoville? He said, probably even Seagoville. I'm like, oh, my gosh. So it took us 5 years. My 5th year there, we finally made it into the playoffs. We get into the playoffs. We advance to the 3rd round. And they're going nuts out there. And so I'm like, this is what we do. I get to the playoffs, I advance. What are you talking about?
You disappointed. Yeah.
So anyway, we get beaten the 3rd round by Denton Ryan, and they go on into the Final Four that year. That was in 2003. 2004, I had all them dudes coming back. So we beat North Crowley to go to regionals, and North Crowley was ranked like number 4 in the state at the time. We beat them, and we go to regionals, and they shut the town down. With nobody in North Richland Hills that day when we played. Everybody that you can think of. They had the fire department out there to give us a send-off with the water, with the cannons, and oh man, they were going crazy about that. And that team, we get out there, and I had a couple of guys that got hurt in the North Crowley game, and it kind of factored into our game when we played Estacada. But once again, Estacada beat us, and Estacada went to state because they won the game against us, then they won the regionals, and then they got to state. But fast forwarded from 2004, we missed the playoffs in 05 and 06. But from 07 to 2015, we made the playoffs every year, like 11 straight years in a row at Richland. And in 2012, probably had the most notable team. The 04 team went the furthest, but the 2012 team is the team that beat Marcus Smart and Flower Mound Marcus the years they won state. They didn't lose but 2 games that year. We were the only Texas team to beat them. Wow. They lost us, and they lost to Findlay Prep.
Wow.
So, you know, I'm about getting in the playoffs in advance, and I ain't trying to just get to the playoffs because that's what they were saying at Richland when I got there. Man, if we can just get one playoff game, who wants one?
Yeah.
Let's go win the whole thing.
Win the whole thing.
So then Desoto came open. And boy, I said, here's an opportunity to have a chance to win some more state titles. You better get your name in the hat and see what you can do and try to get that. And fortunately enough, it worked out for me, and now the work it's time to get the work started.
Absolutely. Wow.
Well, that was a lot, but you asked for me.
No, absolutely. A lot of people, you know, either didn't know the story or knew it and want to hear it again. I mean, very highly decorated coach has been through the fire again. I kind of like that Duncan was able to hear that story so he can kind of get a better understanding of, you know, what he's getting ready to walk into and the expectations and things of that nature. But, you know, I tell Duncan, I told him this offline and I said publicly, I said, man, you're getting ready to have probably your best year as a high school player just because of what Coach Bacon does with developing players. So, again, just buying in. Speaking of buying in, I got a message from one of your daughters to Duncan that's saying, Coach Bacon has been my daddy and my coach my whole life. And I'm telling you from experience, if you buy in, he will take you where you want to go.
Which one of them girls said that?
That's from, hold on. Let me make
sure. From Chanel?
Chanel, yeah.
That's the oldest. That sounds like her.
Yeah, that's Chanel.
Yeah.
So make sure Duncan knows that. So.
Yeah, I've been her daddy all her life for sure.
Duncan, you got any questions for Coach?
Nah, he pretty much said everything, literally, from 81 or whatever all the way to now. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Coach,
yeah, we're gonna get there, man.
Well, who are some of the notable players you've had come through your program in 23 years, Coach?
Okay, so going back to the 04 team, I had a guard named Colin Dennis.
Yeah.
He's probably one of the best guards to ever play for me, period, anywhere. Just flat out tough. You know, Lincoln, I mean, I don't know why I keep saying Lincoln, but Duncan keeps talking about, you know, how he can score the ball and stuff like that. You need to be able to score with a mentality like Colin, man. Colin, nobody could stop. That kid went for 15 points in a row in a minute and a half.
Colin was tough.
He could really play. Mm-hmm. So Colin Dennis, I had a kid named Anthony Jones that was on that team with him, and Kenneth Banks. Those were some good players. Now, Colin went on to South Florida, and they were in the Big East at the time, finished up in North Texas. Anthony signed with Montana State out of high school, but went JUCO and finished up down there in Texas A&M Kingsville. Played at University of Houston for a year, and then finished up at Kingsville. On that 2012 team, I had Leighton Hammonds, who played at Oklahoma State. Had Tim Priller, who went to Indiana. And the year before that, Layton's older brother, Justin, played for me. And Justin went to Air Force, had Hayden Hunter. He was a guard on that team. And Hayden went to Weber State. He went to Weber State right after Damian Lillard left. Chris Brown was 6'6", 260. Signed with Arkansas State out of high school. And he was on that 2012 team. After the 2014 season, I had 8 guys playing college basketball from Richland High School. 5 of them were Division I, 2 Division II, and 1 JUCO.
So wait a minute now. You just told me when you got that job, they told you the talent level was going to be lesser than Seagoville.
And it was when I got there.
So you mean tell me you've been doing you went from that to developing Division I players in that program?
Yes, sir. And with the luck of a few parents who moved into the neighborhood or moved in from out of town that I didn't even know. It wasn't like I went out and recruited them. The Hammond boys came from San Antonio, and I had no idea that they were coming. Matter of fact, I thought it was a joke when the dad emailed me. He says, Coach Bacon, I work up in the area, but my family lives in San Antonio, and I've watched a lot of basketball coaches in the area trying to decide when I move my family up here where we're going to live. And I came to your game when you played Arlington Boyd, and even though you lost, I was impressed with what you did. He said, I'm bringing both of my sons to you. They are 6'6". One's a sophomore and one's a senior. I thought it was a joke. He said, man, who moves from San Antonio with 2 6'6" boys and come to Richland? You know, you got a whole lot of places you can go. You come to Richland. He said, I saw you. He said, I watched you coach, and I just thought my kids would flourish under your program. I was like, okay, thank you. And so after they came, I ended up having Tim Priller, who ended up graduating at 6'9", but in middle school, he was a 6'2", 8th grader. And he just grew from 6'2" as an 8th grader to 6'9". Wow. And then Hayden Hunter came. He was living, going to a school in Keller, and they moved to North Richland Hills. And that guard right there could play. And then 2 kids from Milwaukee moved here.
Really?
Yeah. If I had a budget, it wouldn't have been Milwaukee type budget to go recruit kids from Milwaukee, and I don't know anybody in Milwaukee.
Right.
I ended up getting those kids. Tony Mayfield, his dad might have been playing college basketball when you were playing. He went to Trinity. No, he went to Tyler Junior College, and then he played at Purdue. He's Tony Mayfield Senior.
Okay, I remember the name. Okay, and what's the big kid that went to Indiana? What was his name?
Tim Priller.
Tim Priller. Gotcha. Okay. Wow, Coach, that's a hell of a resume, Coach. You know how Enterprise talk about they have a lot of guys go pro. Mm-hmm. Tim is about to be a general manager at Enterprise. Really?
Yes, sir.
Wow, that's all right.
He's doing well. Graduated. You know.
Got his degree. That's great. Shout out to Tim. Got a question from one of the coaches on Facebook. It said, Coach Bacon, please talk about some of the great players that you coached at Lincoln and Seagoville.
Ooh, okay. At Seagoville, mind you, I like to state this. I've been to the Final Four 4 times, but I never coached a McDonald All-American. I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but it does.
Duncan, can you listening, Duncan? That's a hint.
I didn't have no McDonald All-American, but I sure would like to coach one. But at the same time, we've won state championships without McDonald's All-American. That just goes to show you don't have to be a McDonald All-American to be a state champion. But at Seagoville, I think we were the first school to go with the big point guard, because Magic had came out of college in 79, and he was a big point guard in the pros. And I had a kid named Maurice Woods, who was like 6'4". That starting lineup on that Seagoville team, they went to state. Everybody was 6'4", except one kid. His name was Gary Ward. He was 6'2", but he played like he was 6'4". So all the guys, Gary Ward, John Tennyson, he was all state on that team. Maurice Woods, Robert Myers, Cedric Foreman, all these guys was on that Seagoville team. the best team I had to see. At Lincoln, boy, that list is long. I know I'm going to miss somebody, and then I'm going to hear about it, but, yeah, we're going to chalk that up to my head, not my heart. But on that 90s team, those three seniors was Willie Black, legendary name in South Dallas, Larry Thomas, and Cedric Collins. Cedric Collins was about a 6'2", cat that just could jump out the gym. We threw alley-oops to him, and he used to dunk that ball all kinds of ways. But those was the stars on that team. But also on that team was Charles Johnson, who, for a lot of you guys who know Willie Warren, that's his dad. And if you thought Willie could play, you should have seen Charles play. Charles, when we went to New York, I took my team to New York because during all this time, I was trying to figure out why did the USA Today have all these teams that was ranked in the top 25 in the country, and all of them was on the East Coast. I'm like, man, Texas got good basketball too. So I reached out to Dave Kreider, who puts the top 25 together, and I said, man, what we got to do to get ranked in the top 25? We didn't want a state title. He said, yeah, well, I get all my information from Mike Kuhnstadt, and he says you guys are pretty good, but you got to get out and play teams in other regions of the United States that's ranked. So I said, okay, we're going to go to the Mecca. We're going to go to New York. And I took them boys up there, and we played Grady High School, which is Rolando Blackman's high school, and they were defending state champs in New York. And we beat them by 25 in New York.
South Dallas crew.
Yes, sir. Beat them by 25. Charles Johnson walked in there and said, hey, what, coach? He said, okay, but they ain't never seen nobody from South Dallas. And he went to work. Okay, so Charles Johnson was on that team. We had a kid named Keith Murray that was about 6'8" that could really play. Had a shooter named Charlie Turner, could really shoot the ball. You probably have a hard time convincing people how good a basketball player was. They say Charlie weighed about 300 pounds now. Charlie, that's what they told me. I didn't know. On that 93 team, we had the legendary Lil Henry on that team, Henry Williams.
What's up, Lil Hen?
Lil Henry played varsity as a freshman. He played all the way up through his senior year on the varsity. Had Damon Roberts, who played at Texas Tech. Carlos Curtis, who went to New Mexico. Damian Walker. D. Walker, who ended up playing at TCU. I helped recruit him over there. Damian Walker, by the way, when he got to TCU, he made first team all-freshman All-American team.
Damian Walker, I always say to this day, Coach, Damian Walker should have came out after his freshman year. It was that good of a freshman year for him. He was a pro. He would have been drafted had he had declared after that freshman season he had over there.
You're right. And you can't forget the guy you mentioned earlier. Carlton Dixon was on that team, highlight film. Kaymon Kennedy, shooter, lefty, could really stroke the ball, man. And probably one of the most underrated guys that was on that team, except from he wasn't underrated by his teammates, was a guy we call Sansuelos Kenner, where that kid could play. So those are some of my top players at Lincoln. I had Willie Davis. He played for me the following year, and he was a freshman. And I always got big ups to Willie. And that's it.
And you know, I'm gonna say this, Coach. That all of those names that you just called off, you know, a lot of legendary players that have come through Lincoln just during your tenure alone, guys that you've coached. But here's the scary part about it. You're probably going to have more talent at this new position than you've had to work with on the high school level in a long time. So I'm looking forward to seeing – I'm telling you, the DeSoto community better buckle up because, you know, I made this statement the other day. They're replacing a legend with a legend. And that's how everybody ought to be looking at it across the board. I mean, from the players to the administration to the community to the media. I mean, these guys are going to hit the ground running, and it's always a loaded pipeline of talent over at DeSoto ISD. And now they got a guy that can really get the most out of them and nurture and develop. Looking forward to putting kids in school as well. So,
Yes, sir.
Duncan, we've been having this conversation, and I throw this question to both of you guys. You guys are familiar with the new NBA G League Pro Pathway Program. Guys such as Jalen Green and those guys are skipping college and going to do their year in the G League and try to get drafted. So I want to get you guys' thoughts on that. Duncan, is that something that you're caught up to speed on? Is that something that's been on your radar? What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's been on my radar a whole lot. I talk about that with my camp a whole lot actually. But the main thing is I just gotta take it one step at a time. I can't be thinking about all that before my senior year even starts. But yeah, I'm real aware of everything that's going on, them paychecks they giving them and all that. That's what's up for them. But yeah, I'm real aware of it, and it's a thought in my head, most definitely.
Okay.
The only thing that I would like to say regarding doing that is that a lot of times guys get bad advice and they make that choice chasing that paycheck right then, and you don't hear anything from them anymore. Because you got to be developed. Them grown men out there in the NBA, and they don't want you taking their paychecks. They're not trying to give up their jobs, and they don't really care a whole lot about whether or not you was this, that, or the other in high school. So with that being said, we're going to have to do really good research on the opportunity before I would suggest that, I don't make that decision. That would be a decision that Duncan and his family would make anyway. But I would like for him to think real hard, because you don't hear about I think everybody would be amazed with the numbers of guys that done that, and you ain't heard nothing else from them.
Absolutely.
So you got to be careful, because one of my closest friends in the world is Rolando Blackman, and we talk about a lot of stuff. And when we see a guy that declares for the draft, maybe don't even get drafted, and he first thing out of his mouth is he's not ready, and I don't know who told him he was ready. It's a totally different thing trying to go out there and score on guys that's in that league right now. And if you are a scorer and you think you're just going to go and fly over people, they're not letting you fly over them. And I'm just saying you got to really, really take a strong look at, if you projected to go in the draft in the top 10 or lotto, you have to go. You have to go. But if they talk about, we don't know, you may be middle first round, late, early second round, maybe late. Man, you know how many people you just got behind? Because there are people already waiting. That's like colleges. Some people say, man, you know what? You ought to go here because they losing everybody. But you don't know about them 4 redshirt guys they got sitting over there that transferred. Do your work. Do your homework. Pick up the phone. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
I think you said it, and I heard, can't remember who it was. It might have been Leonard Hamilton or somebody saying the other day. It was like, man, a lot of these kids said the same thing you said about taking bad advice, and you're getting advice from people who don't even know the process, has never gone through it, and yet right. they're giving you all of these clues and suggestions, but you're not ready. And very few, I'll say this about anybody, and I played with guys against the Kobe Bryants, Tracy McGrady's, who went out of high school to the NBA. Very few are ready to go out of high school to the pro level, even overseas.
Right.
Never mind the NBA. So, it's just a different ball game, and guys feed their families. So, like you said, they're not ready to let a 18-year-old come in here and take food out of their mouth. That's not going to happen. But
and the other side of it is the social side that the guys don't think about. You get out of practice in high school, you and your boys go to Whataburger, like Duncan said a minute ago. We're going to Whataburger. You get out of practice, and you're not finna hang with me. I'm going home to my wife and my kids. I'm not hanging with you. Plus, you 18 and you listen to stuff I don't listen to. Come on, man. And that's the thing I'm going to do. I'm going to keep it real with them. And I'm going to make sure that they get all the information. In order to make a wise decision, you need to have a collective amount of information and then make that decision.
Absolutely. Next thing we've been talking about has been pretty hot is we had a couple of top AAU and high school coaches on the broadcast joining us maybe about a week or so ago, and we had the discussion of bridging the gap between grassroots and high school basketball for the sake of the kids. So both of you guys, Duncan is going to give us the player perspective, and Coach Bacon, I want you to give me your perspective on if high school coaches and AAU coaches can coexist for the betterment of the kid. Duncan, I'll start with you. What do you think about that?
I mean, I feel like your question kind of answers itself per se. Like, if it's really about the kids, like a lot of these people say it's about the kids, yada, 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 we want the kids, I don't want nothing from you, then it's not even a question. Like that, in a perfect world, it's not even something to think about. If it's really about the kids, why wouldn't it coexist? It's like two parents breaking up. If it's about the kids, they gonna still coexist. If that's the thing. A lot of the times, these AAU or high school coaches, sometimes high school coaches, they don't even care about the kids. It's about whatever personal agenda they got. So I feel like, yes, if two genuine people that genuinely care about their kids, of course, it's gonna be easy. It's not even gonna be a difficult transition at all. Because at the end of the day, you just want to help the kids. It's not whenever that gets caught up, whenever it's an AAU coach or high school coach going at it, whatever, it's because they got personal agendas that they ain't showing the public. But that's what it is. That's where all those problems come from.
So
from at least one party,
one or the other. So and that leads me to my next question too. And as a elite high school player that plays on both a top high school team as well as the circuit, have you been in a situation as a player where you've been pitted against your high school and AAU coach, or have they tried to pull you one direction and say, hey, give us an example? You don't have to call any details, but just give us an example of how that works from what you've had to endure as a player.
I'm going to keep it straight up because the world needs to know. So say the first EYBL session, that's real important for you, or the last one. And you got the July one and the April one. So I'd have a coach at my high school that just hated AAU so much and didn't really care for his kids as much. He would work his players, including myself, so hard leading up to that Friday night you fly out to go play. He'd worked us so hard. We would have, we wouldn't be able to play that weekend because he just hated AAU that much. He wouldn't want us to succeed in AAU. He'd work us to death in the off season for no reason, just so he knew we were too tired to compete in AAU. So I know it's a bunch of petty stuff like that. And then there's AAU organizations that during the season make you come practice with their team. So that's crazy. It goes both ways with it. But yes, those are just certain times when it's a dirty game for real. It is.
Okay, good. That's good. Now, Coach Bacon, as a high-level high school coach who has had players who have played AAU on different programs and things of that nature, talk about that dynamic of bridging that gap between the kids' AAU program and your program.
So to answer the question, can they coexist? Yes. But just like anything else, and I have a phrase how I refer to AAU coaches or AAU as a means of guys being showcased. And it's not really negative. It sounds negative, but it's not. It is a necessary evil. And what I mean by that is we need AAU basketball because, once again, just like with us, when I was telling you about trying to compare your team against a team in New York, you have to go there and play them. Or you invite them here and you play them here. So if it's a guard in Chicago that's ranked higher than Duncan, the only way Duncan can show that this guy is not as good as he is to play against him. The only way you're going to do that is AAU for a lot of players. So you need AAU. What messes it up is the guys that are in AAU, just like he mentioned, coaches that are in high school that are not in it for the kids. If the guy in AAU is doing things just to try to help himself advance, or there's some kind of payoff for him as a result of this kid going to this particular college, that's for the wrong reason. So we need AAU. Yeah, we definitely need AAU.
Absolutely.
And everybody in AAU is not bad. You have to find the right fit for you, just like in high school. Unfortunately, for high school, you attend the high school, or you should attend the high school in your attendance zone. And you got to deal with the coach that's there. And unfortunately for you, if your coach don't care. I told him in the interview, and I tell everybody, I am in the kid business. And it ain't going to take the kids at DeSoto long to realize Coach Bacon cares. He cares about you on the floor, he cares about you in the classroom, and he cares about you when you leave. And one of the best testament of a good coach, and I talked to a kid today, is guys reach out to you after they leave. How many players are coming back to your school to see you or calling you? I got 2 coming to my house Friday. Damian Walker, one that we mentioned, and then Princeton Parks, who played at Eastern Hills.
Hey, my boy Princeton.
And Princeton called me today. He called me to congratulate me on getting. He told me, man, Soto, you're gonna be all right over there, coach, because you're gonna have some talent. But Princeton called me today just to congratulate me and the fact that he wants to, come by. So it's both. Coaches can be bad too.
Yeah.
And AAU. So like I said, it's a necessary evil. We need AAU because I can't take my team to California, New York, Chicago, Florida, but an AAU team can go to Vegas and all them dudes are there. I remember in Vegas when I was coaching at TCU, I was trying to get over to watch Glendon Alexander. You remember that name, right?
Yes, sir. Glendon. My boy just talked to Glendon. Yeah.
So I went, because I was recruiting Glendon. So I go to see Glendon play, and Kobe had just got through playing on the main court. Glendon was scheduled to play in the back gym. Glendon comes out. He sees Kobe. They say what's up to each other. They talk for a minute. And Kobe tells Glendon, I just went for 40. Glendon goes to the back gym because everybody's still there, and Glendon puts up 54. But he did it in front of all the college coaches at a site based on AAU. So I think it's a necessary evil, and it's a good thing that I know quite a few of the guys that are in AAU
right
in the Dallas area, and hopefully we can keep our relationship as it has been.
And for those of you out there that don't know, Glendon Alexander is the UIL Texas all-time leading scorer in Texas high school basketball, and he will be on the round table in the next few days too to talk about that. So it's funny you brought that up, but big time score.
Yeah, I'm almost a historian on all the best players ever come through here.
Absolutely. So, guys, this has been great. Again, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to close out in customary fashion. I want you to leave your best piece of advice for those that are out there watching. So for Duncan, you're going to leave your best piece of advice for the young man that's following in your footsteps and wants to be where you are. Coach Bacon, close us out with your best piece of advice for the young coaches out there, as well as your closing remarks to the DeSoto community. Duncan, we'll start with you, and Coach will close us out.
All right. So for all the kids in there, middle school, high school, whatever, do what really you want to do. Because at the end of the day, it's your life. Don't let nobody dictate or influence you in a way you know it isn't right. And with basketball especially, or in life in general, just even at the end of the day, even your parents, it's your life. So just work hard and do whatever you feel is best for you and makes you happy at the end of the day. Because a lot of people get messed up out here listening to people's advice. So just do whatever you feel is best for you. That's it.
Good deal. Coach D.
For the young high school coaches or coaches out there that needs a little push, the biggest thing I can tell you is this. There is no cookie cutter pattern that everybody can follow to coach your kids. You need to get in there and learn what makes your kids go one player to the next. Because in order to have longevity and success, you have to keep up with what's going on right now. You don't have to necessarily buy into everything that's going on right now with the kids. You can still have some rules that they may disagree with. But at the same time, you have to do what's best for that kid. Just like when I get to DeSoto, I'm going to allow those kids to show me what they can do. And what happens, a lot of times, them trying to show you all the things they can do, they show you the things they can't do.
Can't do, yep. Yep.
So with that being said, it'll kind of work itself out. You can't be so, stringent on everything. And for the community of DeSoto, man, I am so excited. I can't wait to meet some of you guys. Appreciate all the well wishes. DeSoto basketball is it has a great tradition. There's no knock on what has happened at DeSoto before me. They've already got 3 state titles. So my goal is to go get at least 3. And you're going to see some exciting basketball. Dust off your old DeSoto shirts and come on to the games.
There it is. Sports Influencer Live with the new head boys basketball coach at DeSoto High School, Richard Bacon, and his 4-star prospect, 2021 guard forward, Duncan Powell. Guys, thank you guys so much for joining us on the round table. Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you for having me. And just FYI, you are the first interview.
My man, hey, I got that on record now. We were the first interview of the new head coach at DeSoto High School. So, Coach, we're looking forward to it, man. We're going to turn up as soon as we get everything opened up. You guys will see a whole lot of us this upcoming year. And, Duncan, good luck, man. Keep grinding and stay hungry and humble.
For sure. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all.
So.
Big time episode. Thank you, Coach Bacon and Duncan Powell, for tuning in and joining us at the round table. Thank you, all of you guys out there for tuning in and watching us. Hope it was informative to you. DeSoto, you got one coming your way. Encourage you guys to embrace him, buy into what he's trying to do. He's all about the kids. And again, get behind the movement. So shout out to Coach Bacon, Duncan Powell, for joining us today. You guys do me a favor as we close. Keep Christy Renee in your prayers. She's wasn't feeling too good today, so I had to stand in for her. And so I'm sure she'll be back with us in no time. But Christy Renee, we praying for you. Keep your head up. Other than that, you guys stay safe, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for tuning in.